Right now, someone somewhere is turning on a light. Another person is charging a phone. A hospital powers a life support machine. A train begins its morning journey. A city wakes up. None of these moments happen by accident. Every one of them depends on the same invisible system. A system so reliable, most of us never even notice it exists. But have you ever wondered what really happens the exact moment you flip a switch? This isn't the story of electricity. It's the story of the invisible system that keeps civilization alive. Every second, millions of generators, millions of kilometers of power lines, thousands of substations, and countless people work together so that you never have to think about them. Until one day, they stop. Most people imagine electricity like water inside a pipe. Always there, waiting, ready whenever we need it. But that's not how the power grid works. The electricity lighting your room is being generated right now. Every second, production and consumption must remain almost perfectly balanced. Think about what just happened. The moment you switched on that light, somewhere a generator had to respond. Not yesterday, not an hour ago, right then. Across an entire country, millions of these tiny moments happen every second. And somehow, the grid keeps them all in balance. But here's what makes this system truly extraordinary. The grid doesn't simply react to demand. It constantly tries to predict it. Engineers already know that tomorrow morning, millions of people will wake up, switch on lights, make coffee, turn on factories, and begin another ordinary day. Long before any of that happens, the system is already preparing for it. Most of us imagine electricity like water stored inside a giant reservoir. Always there, waiting for someone to use it. But that's almost never what is actually happening. The electricity powering your home isn't waiting inside the wires. It's being generated at almost the exact moment you need it. Every second, power plants across an entire country adjust their output, trying to match demand almost perfectly. That balance is what keeps civilization alive. Imagine if every power plant in your country suddenly produced just a little too much electricity, or just a little too little. The consequences would spread almost instantly, because the grid depends on something remarkably fragile: balance. Keeping this balance isn't automatic. Behind the scenes, teams of engineers monitor the grid every second of every day. They constantly compare what is happening with what they believe will happen next. Because the future of the grid is always measured in minutes, sometimes even seconds. The challenge isn't producing electricity. It's producing exactly the right amount, at exactly the right moment. Every morning, millions of people wake up. Every evening, entire cities come alive. And the grid has to follow them all. Most days, the system works so well that we forget it even exists. Until one day, it doesn't. And suddenly, Entire cities fall silent. It rarely begins with an explosion or a dramatic failure. Sometimes it begins with something almost invisible. A single power line, a tree branch, a protection system. One small event inside one enormous network. On the afternoon of August 14th, 2003, millions of people were simply living an ordinary day. Offices were open, factories were running, trains were moving. No one knew that within the next few hours, one of the largest blackouts in history would unfold. It didn't happen all at once. The first failures were almost impossible to notice. One transmission line shut down, then another. Within minutes, the system began collapsing faster than anyone could stop it. Within hours, more than 55 million people were without power. Subways stopped. Traffic lights went dark. Elevators froze between floors. Entire skylines disappeared into silence. Not because civilization had failed, but because one invisible system had. The investigation would eventually reveal something unexpected. There had been no massive explosion, no coordinated attack, no single catastrophic failure. Instead, the blackout began with a transmission line that sagged into overgrown trees. A routine problem inside an extraordinary machine. Think of the power grid as a network of highways. When one road closes, traffic doesn't disappear. It searches for another route. The same thing happens inside the grid. When one transmission line shuts down, the electricity instantly looks for another path. Sometimes, that new path can't handle the extra load. As each transmission line disconnected, the remaining lines were forced to carry even more electricity. Some reached their limits. They shut down too. The extra load moved again, and again, and again, within minutes. The cascade had become unstoppable. For millions of people, civilization didn't disappear. It simply paused. And that's when the invisible became impossible to ignore. But perhaps the most remarkable part of this story isn't the blackout. It's how incredibly rare blackouts actually are. Every single day, thousands of engineers, operators, meteorologists, and increasingly intelligent software work together to keep the system in balance. The blackout of 2003 changed the way engineers think about the grid. Not because it proved the system was weak, but because it revealed where it could become stronger. New monitoring systems were introduced. Communication improved. Operators gained better tools to detect problems before they spread. The goal was no longer just delivering electricity. It was protecting the balance. Today, we rarely think about electricity. We think about hospitals, airports, factories, data centers, the internet. But behind every one of them is the same invisible system, quietly keeping civilization alive. The most extraordinary technologies don't always feel extraordinary. In fact, the greatest engineering achievements often become invisible. You don't admire the power grid when you turn on a light. You simply expect it to work. And perhaps that is its greatest success. The grid was designed for a different world. A world with fewer people, fewer computers, fewer electric vehicles, no artificial intelligence. Today, that same invisible machine is being asked to do far more than its creators ever imagined. Most machines can be stopped, upgraded, rebuilt, tested. The power grid can't. It must evolve. While millions of homes, thousands of hospitals, entire industries, and now artificial intelligence itself continue depending on it every second of every day. For more than a century, electricity followed a simple path. From a power plant, through transmission lines, to homes and businesses. One direction, one predictable flow. But that world is disappearing. For more than a century, homes simply consumed electricity. Today, many of them produce it. A rooftop covered in solar panels is no longer just a roof. It's a tiny power plant. An electric vehicle is no longer just transportation. It may soon become part of the grid itself. For more than 100 years, the grid only had to coordinate thousands of power plants. Tomorrow, it may have to coordinate millions. Homes, cars, batteries, solar panels, every one of them producing, storing, or consuming electricity at different moments. The challenge is no longer generating electricity. It's coordinating complexity. To keep up, the grid is learning to see. Thousands of sensors now monitor transmission lines, substations, power plants, and increasingly, millions of connected devices. Instead of simply reacting, the modern grid is beginning to anticipate problems before they spread. But there's another challenge. The fastest growing sources of electricity are also the least predictable. Clouds can reduce the output of thousands of solar panels within minutes. The wind can suddenly fade. Demand, however, doesn't wait. Hospitals still need power. Factories keep running. Cities never stop. The grid must adapt every second. There is no single solution, no perfect power plant, no battery large enough to solve every problem. Instead, the future of the grid depends on something remarkably familiar: balance. Solar when the sun shines, wind when the air moves, hydroelectric reservoirs, batteries storing energy for later, and millions of decisions working together. The power grid isn't simply a network of wires. It's one of the largest machines humanity has ever built. Not because of its size alone, but because of the number of lives it quietly connects. Every home, every hospital, every factory, every data center, every ordinary moment depends on it. And perhaps that's what makes the power grid so remarkable. It reminds us that civilization is built on systems we rarely notice. Clean water arrives before we ask for it. Food appears on supermarket shelves. The internet connects billions of people in milliseconds. Aircraft cross continents. Cargo ships connect oceans. Most of these systems remain invisible until the moment they stop. The next time you turn on a light, it will probably feel like an ordinary moment. But behind that simple click, thousands of generators, millions of kilometers of power lines, thousands of substations, weather forecasts, control rooms, and millions of decisions will have worked together so that nothing extraordinary appears to have happened. And perhaps that's the greatest engineering achievement of all. The power grid is only one of them. One invisible system among countless others, quietly shaping the world around us. Most remain hidden, not because they're secret, but because they work so well, we stop noticing them. Perhaps understanding civilization begins by learning to see the invisible. If this story changed the way you see something as ordinary as a light switch, imagine how many other invisible systems are shaping your life every single day. That's what Planetary Hub is here to explore. Subscribe and keep seeing the invisible.